Hello, I'm Ollie and this is CriminOlly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, crime with a comic twist. I'm going to talk to you about the novel Burglars Can't Be Choosers by Lawrence Block. So this is going to be a quick review today because guess what? Some books don't need long reviews. I try to keep my reviews under the kind of 10-minute mark or so, but some of them creep up. And sometimes if a book has got, complex issues and things like that contained within it, it can be appropriate to give it a bit more attention and to talk in a bit more depth about it. But some books are just fun and don't need long, in-depth reviews. And Burglars Can't Be Choosers is definitely a book that falls into that category. So it's by the author Lawrence Block, who's a crime author who's been writing for decades. He's best known for his Matt Scudder series, of which there have been a couple of movies, most recently one with Liam Neeson. And those are, kind of very hard-boiled, serious, quite downbeat novels about a private eye. They've got titles like 8 Million Ways to Die and When the Sacred Gin Mill Closes. So quite serious sounding titles, and they're quite serious books and explore in quite an interesting way alcoholism. So Matt Scudder, the lead character, is an alcoholic, and the books kind of track his battles with his addiction. So that's Block's most famous series. This series, which is known as the Bernie Rodenbach series, is less well known and very different. And this is the first book I'd read in that series, and indeed it's the first book in the series. But it was so much fun. So I'm a huge fan of the Scudder books. But this felt so different from them and so refreshing, and it was just a joy to read. So it came out in 1977, and there's now, I think, 11 books in that series. The last one, I think I just looked, and it came out in like 2013. So Block has continued to write them over an extended period of time. So the lead character, Bernie Rodenbach, is a burglar. And in this book, he gets hired to steal a particular object from an apartment building, and during the course of that crime, something goes completely unexpectedly, and he ends up getting caught up in something a lot bigger. So it's a fairly standard kind of crime trope. But what makes the book so much fun is that Bernie Rodenbach, who's also the narrator of the book, is just a really engaging character. So he's completely unapologetic about the fact that he's a criminal. There's a point where another character asks him, have you ever thought of doing anything else? And he's like, well, I'm not really good at anything else. Burglary seems fine to me. So yeah, he's definitely on the wrong side of the law, but he's also extremely likable. The book is very amusing at times. There's some lovely dialogue, and just his internal monologue as he's going around about things is very amusing as well. And it's just got a bit of everything. There's a bit of romance thrown into it. It's quite exciting at times as he's kind of on the run and trying to figure out what's gone on. There's a load of other interesting characters. So Bernie himself is a great character, but there's a bunch of other characters who are really engaging and interesting as well. So cops, people who are caught up in the mystery, a female character who Bernie starts a relationship with, and there's it touches on kind of the screen acting industry and things like that as well. So there's all sorts of fun stuff going on. A real mix of nice characters, and a really good mystery at the centre of it as well. I didn't figure out what was going on, but I always felt like Block does that great thing in this, which I love in a mystery. You can read mysteries sometimes, and they're just so overwhelmingly complex that you feel a bit lost. And equally, you can read mysteries which are so obvious what's going on that there's no fun in them. What Block manages to do in this one is to make you feel like you're just one step behind. So you kind of know that Bernie's a little bit ahead of you in terms of figuring stuff out, but he hasn't let on yet. So it just makes it a fun read. You always just feel like you're just one page away from finding out something interesting and revelatory that will shed more light on what's going on. So yeah, just a really fun read and a nice antidote for me. I read it after reading 1974 by David Peace, which I'm going to be doing a review of next week, I think, which was one of the most bleak and depressing crime novels I've read for ages. So to read something that was kind of light and fluffy, that was amusing and engaging, that had a decent mystery at the heart of it, a bit of romance, a bit of comedy, was just wonderful. And the best thing about it is he includes all of that stuff. So he includes a really good mystery, some great characters, a great central character, humour, romance, all of that in less than 200 pages. You can't go wrong with that, can you? Absolutely perfect. A really enjoyable book, and I'm very much looking forward to reading the rest in the series. If you're a Kindle reader, you can actually get the whole, I think pretty much the whole series in 2 volumes on Kindle for not much money at all. I will leave links in the description to the video, as I always do, to the website Bookshop, which is a site that supports independent bookshops. So you can go online and choose from a huge catalogue of books, and it actually, the shop that actually sells it to you is an independent bookshop, so that they get the cash, and I get a small commission if you buy a book from that site as well. So I will put links to Bookshop in the description of the video. I'll do that in all of my review videos, but also note that if you want it really cheap, get it on Kindle. So yes, definitely recommended from me. And Lawrence Block generally is a really reliable author, I think. As I said, the Matt Scudder books are a lot of fun, but he's also got out from Hard Case Crime some books he wrote early on in his career, which are just like the pulpiest, sleaziest things you can imagine. Really very graphic, but really entertaining as well. I think the one I read was called Border Town, but they are absolutely filthy. So if you fancy a bit of filth with your crime, check out those as well. Okay, time for a random book from the shelf. Something completely different. So today's book is Rogue Mail by Geoffrey Household, the classic British thriller. So a really interesting book about a guy who's kind of on the run, being chased by foreign spies through the British countryside. And it's an interesting book about, an interesting book in the history of the development of, this kind of espionage thriller as a subgenre, but also a lovely book about the British countryside. So you really feel like you are in the hedgerows of rural England when you're reading this book. So yeah, definitely another one I recommend. Okay, hope you found that interesting. As I say, just a quick review today, because I think some books only need a quick review. Let me know if you've read Lawrence Block, and if you're a fan, let me know if you've read the Bernie Rodenbaugh books. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff, and I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.